Have you ever wondered why you seem to encounter misfortune after misfortune, or nothing is working? Or if one aspect of life is working, the other one is not uh, working, or you seem to encounter struggles now and then. So today I want to talk about adverse childhood experiences, which are traumatic events that occur in childhood between the age of 0 to 17 years. And these adverse childhood experiences, when the effect or their impact is not addressed, and it can lead to trauma. And when you talk about trauma, it's those negative events that are emotionally painful and that overwhelm the person's ability to cope. And on that, we can say childhood trauma, because when someone has unresolved childhood trauma, then they could live a life that is not authentic. They could not be living their true self because of this effect that could have happened, of how this traumatic event could have programmed their life, how this traumatic event has impacted their brain development. And when I talk about child trauma, I'm talking about the experience of an event by a child that is emotionally painful and distressful, which often results to mental or lasting mental and physical effect. I've always seen the kind of experiences that a child is being exposed to determines the kind of neural connection that happens that influences the brain development. The kind of experiences, early childhood experiences that a child is passed through, are the ones that shapes how that child turns out. So to provide proper development of a child, or to ensure the child grows up in the right way, then a child is supposed to be provided with loving, caring, and nurturing experiences. What happens when the caregiver or the parent is not able to provide that, and therefore they encounter situations that are not favorable, that are programming them in a way that it affects them in their adulthood. And so today I'll be talking about some of adverse childhood experiences that you could have gone through, and perhaps you didn't get someone to support you so that you can able to navigate through. But as well as trauma being happening, but if you got someone to support you, then the input or the impact is not as much as someone that a child who was going through this trauma alone, or someone who did get someone to support them. And one of those kind of adverse childhood experiences is maybe encountering accident. Maybe a child went through accident and there was no one to support through to help them cope. Maybe a child was emotionally abused or emotionally being neglected. Emotional abuse is where maybe a child emotions are invalidated, or you are told you shouldn't feel this way, or you shouldn't express this way. Or maybe you had a caregiver or a parent who was not there emotionally so that they can able to help you understand what is going with you. Perhaps maybe you are physically abused or neglected, you are beaten, you are scorned, or maybe the parent or the caregiver left you maybe with no warm clothes to keep you warm, or maybe you are left with no food. Perhaps you are maybe sexually abused. Perhaps you are bullied in school and it has left a lot of impact even at your adulthood, even as you're watching this video. Perhaps maybe the parents separated, or the caregiver left you, or maybe there was divorce of the parent, there was death of a parent. All these are some of the adverse childhood experiences that could have led to trauma. Or maybe there were dysfunction in the family, where maybe you witnessed domestic violence, where the father came drunk or the mother were always fighting, and now you have this kind of fear. Even when you are, maybe you have gotten into marriage, you've gotten into relationship, you still encounter those kind of things that you encountered when you are growing up. And what happens is that how you've been programmed, it acts as a magnet that keeps you towards what is familiar. You tend to gravitate towards what is familiar, even though what that is familiar is not right for you or is not good for you. For example, maybe you grew up experiencing this, witnessing this domestic violence, or maybe the parent came drunk and they didn't have time for you emotionally, they were unavailable to you. And so because that is how you've been programmed, that is the magnetic force that is operating inside you unconsciously, then you attract people in life that mirror the characteristics of those people that supported you, or your caregivers or your parent. And so it's very important to understand the kind of early experiences that you're exposed to, so that you can able to understand what is impacting you, what has influenced you, what has contributed to who you are today. And so it is important to understand that early childhood experiences are very vital, because they're the one that programs us to how we are. And if you want to reprogram yourself, then you have to revisit the foundation. You have to ask yourself what happened along the way. Instead of asking people what is wrong with them, we shouldn't ask what happened along the way. This person was not born like that. No one wakes up in the morning and one day and they want to be controlling. No one wakes up early in the morning and maybe they want to be addicted to something. What is that? What is that that has programmed them? What is that that has influenced them? And so as I talk about these adverse childhood experiences, you can able to pinpoint, or you can able maybe to resonate, maybe this something of that sort has ever happened to me. And you can able to relate what is happening with your life. Is it familiar to what you encountered in childhood? Is it familiar to how you saw your parents do? Because how we are today, how we treat ourselves today, is how we have been treated by our caregivers in childhood. Maybe you don't have time for yourself. Maybe you neglect your needs so that you can take care of others. Is it mirroring something that has ever happened in childhood? Or maybe the parents were not there, they were not emotionally there. Maybe you are left to be the parent to other siblings, and therefore you are denied that chance to become a child, to experience what childhood means, or what it involves, what it entails. And even right now in adulthood, you tend to neglect your needs. You're always taking care of other people's needs. You're always there for other people, but you forget you need you. You forget that you need to fill your cup first before you can able to pour to other people. Have you ever witnessed violence, or maybe something happened in the neighborhood? Or was it at time of war, terrorism that happened at the time that you're growing up, between that 0 to 17 years of age? Did you experience extreme poverty, and how has it impacted you? Maybe you lacked things in childhood and now you compensate for that by maybe overspending, maybe even buy things that you don't need. And maybe the caregiver, the parent, need to protect you. And now as a parent, you overprotect your children, never giving them a chance to exercise autonomy. And you see one thing, how we have been parented. Sometimes we can parent the same way, or we can go overboard. It can still impact our children in a negative way. And the best thing is to understand, have I ever experienced that kind of things? Or how are they impacting me? Or how are they affecting my current life? And what can I do so that I can able to change that? Before, people used to say that if that's how you're being raised, you can't change anything. But the power of neuroplasticity has shown that your brain can be rewired, because it is the experiences that you expose yourself that forms neural connection. If you expose yourself to new positive experiences, then you can rewire your brain. It is important to understand this so that we can able to challenge those negative or those limiting beliefs that you have held, those stories that are limiting, that you have held for so long time. Perhaps maybe you were abused, someone told you are not good enough, they told you are not worthy, or maybe someone did something that made you feel that you're not enough, that you're not lovable, and that still impacts you. That inner child within you is still being affected. And it is possible to reconnect to that inner child. It is possible to heal. It is possible to reprogram yourself. But you have to get this kind of awareness and understand what has impacted you, what has happened along the way. I used to be in that position until I came to understand about this advanced childhood experiences, about childhood trauma. Because when nothing is working, no matter what you have done, nothing seems to work. Sometimes it is what has programmed us that is hindering us, that is keeping us hostage, that is keeping us in prison. And the moment you understand what has programmed you, then you can able to transform your life. So I will be talking more about this childhood trauma, how you can able to reparent, how you can able to reprogram. So keep in check, keep watching this video. Also share with your friends, share with your family members so that they can able to understand that, so that they can able to start healing, so that we can break this another generational patterns. You don't want to raise your children the same way you are raised. That is not helpful. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. It's Jacqueline Kinoti, a transformational life coach and a psychologist.